Welcome to the Neenah Mayoral Candidates Forum presented tonight by the League of Women Voters of Winnebago County. I'm Margie Davey, President of the League and your moderator. The League of Women Voters seeks to inform citizens about major public policy issues and about candidates seeking office. We are proud to be nonpartisan and never support nor oppose any political party or candidate. Due to the continuing pandemic, we are conducting this forum in person, but without an audience. Public questions were solicited in advance and may have been edited for brevity and clarity. 3 candidates are competing for mayor of Neenah for a 4-year term. They are Kelly Bierman, Brian Borchardt, and Jane Lang. Candidates, I want to thank you for keeping your answers short tonight so we can get through as many questions as possible. We will give you 3 minutes for an introduction and then probably a minute and a half for the answers to the questions that we've had submitted. You've met the timekeeper, you know where she's at, and if you see her hold up a sign that says stop, please stop. Okay, let's see, let's start with the statements that you have probably prepared, introducing yourself to the public. And we'll go alphabetically. We'll begin with you, Brian.
Annie, thank you very much to the League of Women Voters for having us here tonight. Appreciate the opportunity. I'd like to thank Kelly and Jan for being here as well. I think a city of our size to have 3 candidates and the courage to be able to come up here and run and serve this city is outstanding. So I just wanted to make sure, get those thank yous out of the way. My name is Brian Borchardt and I am running for mayor of Neenah. For the past 25 years, I've called Neenah my home. My wife Lori and I have raised our 3 children here. During that time, I've served this community with all my heart. Our rich history here in Neenah is dedicated to those who have come before us, and there's tons that we care about this city. And I promise to make sure we remind ourselves of that past while looking towards the future. So the question is always, why do you run for mayor? Why are you putting yourself out here? And it's kind of one of those questions that I think sometimes maybe along the candidacy you're wondering why. As a history teacher, I instill civic responsibility into my students, encouraging them to be civically responsible and active citizens in their government and their community. I guess it was time for me to talk my walk, and I've been telling that and to do this for a long time. I hope that if I'm elected mayor, I'll be continue to be a great role model for them, as well as the citizens of Neenah. I'm currently an alderman representing District 2 in Neenah. However, my experience to be mayor expands beyond my time on city council. Out of college, I worked in businesses and sales and combined insurance company at J.J. Keller and Associates and New London Engineering. That way, I understand the importance of private businesses in our community. I have volunteered for Brigade for the last 27 years and sat on their board for the last 6 years. I understand the importance of investing in people, engaging people around a common goal. The past 8 years, I've sat on the board of Verve, a credit union, where I oversee $1.5 billion in assets. I understand the importance of being good stewards of people's money. I have spent the last 15 years working with students and families in the Neenah Joint School District as an alternative education history teacher and a leadership teacher. I understand the importance of education and investing in our future for the viability of this community. I have been unwavering in my dedication and service to this community. As your mayor, my vision for Neenah is not limited to the next 4 years, but is for the next 40 years and beyond, because we're all Neenah. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. When I said we're going alphabetically, I obviously meant by first names. So we'll go to Jane next.
Thank you. I'm Jane Lang, and I'm running for mayor of the city of Neenah. I'm a 5th-generation, lifelong resident of Neenah, and I love my hometown. My husband and I have raised our 4 children here, and we've been so thankful for the opportunities that we were able to give them in this community. They're all adults now, but they also value their hometown roots and the gift it is to grow up in a safe, vibrant, and healthy city. It's something we should never take for granted. I graduated from Neenah High, and I have that sense of Neenah with pride that comes from years of attachment to this community. I met my husband in the fall of my freshman year of college at UW-Madison. We married after graduation and then went to the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana for grad school. More than once, I can recall being accused of bragging about my hometown to my classmates. I guess that Neenah pride runs pretty deep. For the past 12 years, I've been serving the city of Neenah at the Neenah Historical Society. I've served as the executive director for the past 10 years, overseeing all the administrative, development, budget, and outreach activities of this important nonprofit organization. I've also been serving on city council for the past 8 years. The key point is I've served. I'm not a professional politician, nor would I ever want to be. I have been your citizen representative, and I've been working for you. I'm not seeking fame, I'm not seeking glory, and I'm not running for mayor for any other reason, beyond that I want to continue to make a positive impact on Neenah. As your mayor, I will continue to be your citizen representative as I have been for many years. I've demonstrated my dedication to Neenah, and I want to continue to give back to my hometown. I've developed the necessary skills to effectively function as the city's leader and administrator. I know how to work with other leaders in the community to bring about the best possible outcomes for our city. I know how to reach out to citizens and get them involved, excited, and engaged about their community. I understand the big picture, and I've worked together with many organizations in the city to make Neenah a better place. From the creation of events and programs to bring the community together, to my votes on city council over the past 8 years to support improvements in infrastructure, public safety, and new business, I have demonstrated my commitment to making Neenah a better place for all of us. I have an informed, educated, and positive vision for Neenah's future. I'm an optimist, and I firmly believe that Neenah's best days are still ahead of us. We've been blessed by a great community in which to live, work, and play. I want to work with you to continue to keep Neenah vibrant, healthy, and safe for now and for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. And to you, Kelly.
Hello, Neenah. If you don't know me by now, I am Kelly Berman, and I want to be your next. Thank you to the League of Women Voters, my opponents, for being watching. I'm a mom of 4 and have been married for 21 of them. I have met and had conversations with hundreds of wonderful people throughout our city. The support that I have received is amazing. Thank you. I am listening to what you are saying. This is our city. Many have asked me, what sets you apart from other candidates? I know we'll struggle. I wasn't handed a good life. I had to earn it. A child left behind by not only my mother, but the entire system. I've been homeless and hungry, learning early that in order to make something of myself, it would be because of me and nobody else. Improvise, adapt, and overcome. A formal secondary education I do not have. My education has come from on-the-job training, teaching, self-teaching. At 19, I discovered great success in network marketing. My business experience began here. It gave me much knowledge and ambition to succeed. Failure is not an option. Around that same time, I was pulled into the optical field, being discovered by the optical manager while working at Shattuck. I was hooked on business, sales, and eyeglasses. What a combo. I'm an entrepreneur. I've sold soap, vitamins, cigars, and even owned a coffee shop. I haven't any political experience, but do have a great love for Neenah and want to help so that it will continue to be a city such as what pulled my family. I am not in cahoots with any entity and will treat all people, departments, and outside groups equally. A mayor is basically a glorified alderman, having no more power except in an emergency situation. A mayor overlooks the city departments and council, keeping them in check. A mayor is the face of the city, and with your help, I will be a mayor that the city will be proud of. As mayor, I will be sure that the city is fiscally responsible. It is your tax dollar that the city spends, be it city tax revenue or a federal program. All taxes must be in check. As mayor, I will work with law enforcement to keep Neenah safe and secure. We must keep Neenah prosperous, safe, beautiful, help all citizens of our city come together as a community. Neenah needs a strong but understanding mayor that will keep all in check and focus on the people, not politics. That is me. My name is Kelly, and with your help, I will be your next mayor. I'm listening.
Thank you, Kelly. Those were our prepared statements. The rest of the questions have been submitted by the public, and the candidates have not had any of these questions. They haven't seen any of them before. I will read the question, and then I will call on you. I may vary the order each time. or maybe not. We'll see. I will tell you that with this first question, I'm going to go to you first, Jane. And my question is, as mayor, how will you improve the transparency of city government? How will you communicate with and learn from your constituents?
Thank you for that question. I am very much in favor of having an open door policy, as our current mayor has had. It's vitally important for us to welcome our citizens' input in issues that are of concern to them. Having an open door policy is very important. Also, having an informed citizenry is very important. I think it's an excellent idea for us to be reaching out as we have been with social media to get our community involved, but we also have to think about our citizens who are not capable or not involved digitally, and having the opportunity for them to learn about what's going on in the city with our city newsletter as an example. I think moving forward, it will be very important for us to help to understand the differences in our community and bring people together. I have a lot of experience with doing that. I think working at the Historical Society has really helped me to understand how to connect with the community, how to embrace differences in the community, and how to best listen to the community. I feel like I'm bringing a lot of experience in that regard, and also as having served as an alderman for the past 8 years.
Thank you. Kelly?
Franklin D. Roosevelt did so by enacting what he called fireside chats, 30 of them within his presidency. Using current technology, I would look into holding a chat, such as on social media. We need to promote council and committee meetings in a fashion in which they are found attractive to the people of Neenah, not only when they have a grievance, always. Quarterly meet and greets with myself, council members, and department leads within a local business should be enacted. Things that matter should not be brushed off. I have watched and attended meetings where I see zero input from the council, with a few exceptions. The council consistently remains quiet within the public eye. Unless it is election time, it is time for the community to get involved. The people are the biggest part of what makes Neenah great.
Thank you. Brian?
When I say the term or I use the phrase, we are all Neenah, I'm talking about everybody from the people in the high-rise office to the person on the street that's, in weather like this or the climate. We have to be able to be communicating and be transparent to everybody. And that is continuing the newsletter, continuing recording our city council meetings, and making our website accessible. But I also want to reach out to that generation that sometimes we forget about because politics doesn't interest them. And that is the younger generation. One of my ideas is to create an app for our city. I think 87% of our country owns a smartphone. The Packers and Bucks and the Brewers, they all require you to have e-tickets. And I want to have our access to City Hall 24/7. I want people, if they want to be able to pay their bills online, to do that. For me, I need a reminder when the garbage goes out, if it's a recycling date or not. I should be able to have a notification to be able to do that. If I see something and I want to be able to get a hold of my alderman, I want to be able to press or use my smartphone to be able to do that. As a teacher and as an alderman, I understand. My classroom is a microcosm of what exists here in Neenah. And so I have been talking to people, not only in my classroom, through organizations I volunteered with, but also my time on council. Listening and hearing what people have to say, having people know that I'm accessible and being seen in the community is going to be a priority if I'm elected mayor. I want people to see me as someone that is reachable and approachable, not only from the citizen standpoint, but our businesses and people that come to visit Neenah. Thank you.
Thank you. So this will go to you first, Kelly. What do you see as the top 2 issues affecting Neenah, and how would you address them?
One, thank you for the question. One of the issues I see, mental health. New research from Boston University School of Public Health reveals that the elevated rate of depression has persisted in 2021 and even worsened. climbing to 32.8%, affecting 1 American adult. Suicides are up, substance abuse is up, and overdoses are up. I could throw statistics at you all day long. However, I think most agree. We should be in a state of emergency due to the uptick in mental health issues. Before COVID, we were already there. It has only worsened. There has been a shortage of mental health care within our community for decades. All people should have access to mental health issues. We need to work together with the Winnebago County Health Department, Data, Ascension, and others to solve this matter. Other one is crime, traffic. To begin with, Neenah Police Department is short 11 team members. I would work together with Chief Olson to find ways to bring in a full-time mental health specialist, additional captain, more community officers, and additional investigators. There's been an uptick in crime within Neenah. This is due to the Highway 41 corridor, troubled individuals coming from the large metro areas, and lack of officers. We need to find a way to bring in required members for the Neenah Police Department team in a financially responsible way. Neenah Police Department has a very high officer retention rate, and we must maintain them. School zones are no place for stupidity and are a huge concern of people. This is one thing that has always frustrated me. We must find a way to assist with this issue without additional traffic officers. Crime has no place within Neenah.
Thank you, Kelly. Brian?
Thank you. Public safety clearly is on people's minds. And I'm sure a lot of us can remember what maybe from Oshkosh to Green Bay looked like many years ago. It's becoming more of a metropolitan area, and with that come issues that we need to deal with. And so having conversations with Chief Olson and trying to understand what the department or the police department's needs are going to be imperative. But we are constrained in budgets, and we have to be wise about what we do with our money. Having an officer pulled from the field to deal with a mental health crisis or an issue for 11 to 12 to sometimes 24 hours takes that officer off that beat. And because I've been, in the schools and in this community, understanding the need for that mental health crisis, those resources, it's been near and dear to my heart. So how can we solve that? By partnerships in the community. Maybe we ask Theta Clark to pitch in and find a mental health officer to be able to solve some of those issues so that the officer can hand off and move forward down into back on the beat, if you will. The other one is growth. If Neenah doesn't find ways to grow its tax base and doesn't find ways to continue to increase businesses and increase those that have done or invested in our community to continue to grow, we can't sustain a lot of the amenities that we are going to have or dealing with some of the issues that we're going to have when it comes to public safety. So we have to find ways to continue to expand our boundaries, increase our tax base, and find ways to be able to give people the things that maybe a growing community like Neenah has. If we're not aware of that growth and we're not looking constantly and we're not ahead of that curve to take some chances and some risks, we'll be sitting back wondering what happened, because it's getting really, really competitive for not only contractors and other people that want to do business. And I want Neenah to be one that people come to see.
Thank you. Jane?
Thank you. I don't disagree with either of the other candidates about public safety and growth. Those are very important. But I have kind of a different take on it. The next mayor is going to be facing two very different types of challenges. One of the challenges will be internally focused. We will be facing the retirements of several of our key department heads in the coming years. We also will be faced, whoever is sitting in the mayor's chair will be faced with a lot of turnover on city council coming. That's going to significantly impact this community as far as having leadership and experience on city council and also in the departments and within staff at the city. That's something that's always changing, and the mayor needs to be ready, needs to be stable, needs to have experience with leading, and I think I can provide that. External challenges then would be the other thing I would be thinking about, and those include some of the things that have already been mentioned, but also the changing economic conditions that we have in this country, labor shortages, attracting good talent for the jobs that we have here and need to be filling. Also the ongoing health crisis as we move forward. I can understand the big picture when it comes to these issues, and I have the experience in community development and economics and budgeting to best address some of the issues that we're facing. I think our future depends on thoughtful and experienced leadership, both for the internal issues that we'll be facing and the external issues as well.
Thank you. Neenah needs to address environmental issues, dealing with climate change. What specific steps should Neenah be implementing to improve both its sustainability and resiliency? And this will go to you first, Brian.
Thank you. I am currently sitting on Sustainable Neenah. I was appointed once I was elected to the city council. And environmental sustainability issues have become much cheaper over the last decade, and embracing them would certainly better not only our environment, but our bottom line. I think sometimes we attack it at one, it's going to save us money or it's going to help our environment, but I think it can happen and it coexist together. I think we need to continually question how we do things currently and find out how we can do it alternatively. That might be something to the effect of looking at replacing, when it's time, economically feasible, replacing our fleet. You think about our Park and Recs department. They're not traveling to Chicago. They're traveling around. We spend, on average, and give or take on the month, about $48,000 on gas. And thanks to Lebanon Oil for doing that. But imagine if the oil changes and the gas and things that were reduced. We're saving money that way. And not only saving money, but we're also being environmentally sound. We have a water tower that is, the cost to run that water tower is being offset by a grant that the Public Works Department, Tony Mock, and Sustainable Neenah helped kind of push forward. It's those types of thinkings that we have to start to. We realize that the environment and our costs are going to start to match where it's going to be economically feasible to be able to do those things. So if we want to be a sustainable community, that forward thinking is going to need to happen. And I believe as mayor, with some of those experiences I have, we'll be able to.
Thank you. Not being from the area, I didn't realize you were on the sustainability board. I am in Oshkosh, so.
Okay.
Jane, your turn, please.
Thank you. I think that sustainability issues are really kind of near and dear to my heart because they're sort of historic. And when you think about how people in the past reused and reused and recycled, that was just how people functioned. And I think that's something we need to be definitely focusing on. It's important for us to be proactive in this realm as we anticipate challenges that we'll face with limited resources. I've seen some wonderful initiatives being taken within our city departments. As Brian mentioned before, we've had the water department install solar panels at the Tower View facility. That's an excellent thing for us to be focused on. It helps us save money for city taxpayers. It's saving you money by us installing solar panels on that facility. Other departments should be considering solar panels as well. The Park and Rec Department has done an amazing job maintaining our Tree City status. For the past 37 years, we've had Tree City USA status. That's amazing. I've had great conversations with our Public Works Director about how we can encourage further recycling in our community. It saves the taxpayer money, and it's also wonderful for the environment. We need to focus on reducing our use of the landfill and recycling more. New opportunities that we might consider as we're moving forward, we might want to install, for instance, electric charging stations in the downtown. That would be an amenity that would be forward-thinking, and it would be helping draw people to the community and be helpful for our citizens and for outsiders as well. I think, again, it's important for us to be forward-looking as we anticipate the challenges we'll face with our changing climate.
Thank you. Kelly?
Thank you. For starters, turn off your vehicle while waiting in line to get a Happy Meal and Big Mac at McDonald's or a latte at Starbucks, or just go inside. You may find it to be quicker, and you could even have some social interaction. As an alternate energy sources improve and become more reliable and affordable, we should surely look into the implementation to Neenah. Last spring, I actually began to gather people to assist in cleaning up some of the areas of Neenah. We did see improvement, however, within weeks, we would be close to where it began. This needs to be kept consistent throughout the spring, summer, fall. This is something that would be worth looking into, maybe bring troubled teens to help that are ordered through community service. My husband has a friend in Baltimore that has worked with a program such as this, and they have seen great success. We were in fact given one earth, and it must remain healthy for future generations.
Thanks. Jane, this question's going to you first. What do you think of the Neenah Police Department budget? Is it too big, too little, just right?
I've been serving on the Public Services and Safety Committee for the entire time I've been serving as an alderman, so I'm very familiar with the police department's budget. I feel that it's adequate for what they need. I did, however, was one of the few aldermen who voted in favor of adding an additional officer. That did not pass in this last budget, but I am in favor of providing the Neenah Police Department with all they need to best serve us. I've worked very closely with the police department in many different realms, even in my role at Historical Society, so I've gotten to know the officers quite well. I know the challenges they face. I work with the police chief regularly, so I understand the challenges they're facing. I've done the ride-alongs. I've learned a lot from them, and it's really been eye-opening for me, having come as a citizen with very little experience understanding police departments to all of a sudden being in, overseeing their budget and receiving the annual, quarterly crime reports from them. It's very eye-opening, and I think it's vitally important for us to continue to fund our police department as is appropriate to help them best keep us safe in this community.
Thank you. Kelly?
To me, I believe it's too short because they are 11 officers short, and that is what is causing the crime in the city. If we had our 11 officers and a full staff on the police department, we would have as much crime. The criminals are not going to Green Bay or Appleton or Oshkosh because they have a full staff. So I believe it's important.
Thank you. Brian?
When I was elected alderman, what I decided to do is my interactions were probably class visits or I think I was an officer for a day once when I won for an auction or whatever, but I just knew that I wanted to get my hands dirty and figure out, all right, how does it work? I saw a lot of things coming through and I had questions, and I know I didn't want to keep raising my hand every time in the city council meeting, so I knocked on the PD's door, and I spent the whole day there, not only with ride-alongs, but meeting with the staff, how they process orders. I was able to actually sit in some interviews. So when you ask if they're funded, they're doing really well with the funds they have. And I do know that a lot of the mutual aid and the assistance that we have, the partnerships they have built, have continued to work well for the city. I've worked for the last, 15 years with our student resource officers at the high school. I've been a part of the active shooter training and gotten to know a lot of those officers and understand that not only are I'm concerned about some of the issues that they're dealing with our community, but I'm also concerned about the officers that are seeing some of the things they have to deal with on a daily basis. So I think when we talk about funding, I know how tight our budgets are, and we've got to find ways and be more creative with some of those. I know that the one additional officer that was brought up as an amendment to the budget was going to be funded through ARPA dollars, and those are one-time dollars. And so we didn't necessarily want to fund that, or the council voted that down because of the one-time funding salaries and benefits. But I do agree that if we can find ways to be able to increase our support, not only with more officers, but also the technology of drones and putting our officers out of harm's way, we'll find one if I'm mayor.
Thank you. Hey, Kelly, we'll start with you this time. Does Neenah have too many tax incremental financing districts? And how would you plan for future TIF districts?
Thank you for the question. Tax increment financing or TIF districts can be effective, yet they are a gamble. Neenah has had some dysfunctional TIF districts as well as some success. Currently, 3 of the 7 within Neenah have or are in distressed situations. They are, however, worth exploring. Neenah must perform proper due diligence when looking into a TID, as they are in fact still a property tax.
Thank you, Kelly. Brian?
We have to utilize the tools that are given to us by our state government. And TIFs are being used not only by us, but our surrounding communities. TIFs attract people here, and they want to be able to use those TIFs to be able to grow. We look at the successes that we've had. It was a risk. But I have, again, spending time when I was elected with the finance department and understanding TIFs and trying to figure out the reasoning and the rationale behind them, we have balanced those things. I can't say enough about Mike Easker and the finance department to be able to handle the TIFs. It saved a lot of companies to continue to work with us here. I know west of 41 with the National Corporation, because of that TIF, they kept their corporate headquarters. If we don't use them, other communities will. And that means we're going to lose out opportunities for growth. We're going to lose out opportunities for businesses to come here. But with that said, obviously, it is something that we have to monitor because obviously it is a tax and it does impact our community. But I think the outstanding prevailing, in my opinion, is that we continue to explore TIFs and attract businesses to come to Neenah.
Thank you. Jane?
Thank you. I served for a couple of years as an alderman on the Joint Review Board, so I have some experience in understanding TIFs and the establishment of TIFs in the city of Neenah. They truly are an effective tool that we've been able to use to draw business and to retain business in Neenah. It's one of the few tools that we're allowed to use within this state. We're not allowed to have, for instance, a local sales tax. So we need to use the tools that we've been given to not only draw business to the community, but to retain the businesses that we have. It's really appropriate to use and establish TIF districts where they're appropriate, where positive development would not otherwise occur. So that really needs to be the foundational question that we're asking when we're establishing a TIF district. It's not only for the recruitment of the businesses and retention of businesses that we establish a TIF. The implications of the establishment are much greater than that. The business creates jobs. The jobs create the need for housing and residential improvement and expansion as well. So it's all tied together. I feel like I can understand the big picture when it comes to this, and that's important. We need to manage TIF districts well. We need to be careful and cautious as we're establishing them to keep the taxpayers' interests at heart and in mind. But I think they can be used very successfully. We have many examples of successful TIF districts in Neenah: Downtown District, the West Town District, the South Park Industrial District. They've all been very successful for us and a great tool that we've been able to use.
Thank you. I got all three of you with that question, right? Okay. Then we will go to Brian first with this question. If elected mayor, would you agree to follow the advice of the Winnebago County health officials on mask mandates, limiting large events, restricting indoor dining, or any other recommendations?
You know, that is one of probably the first hot button topics, that we had to deal with. And it's one that people are very passionate about. And they're passionate because it has devastated people's lives, families, and has devastated our business and our community. I do believe that we have to continue learning each step of the way as we hear more information. The guiding light is CDC. It is the one that is making these decisions on what is happening. I'd rather take the information from those people that are in charge of public health than somebody who has a feeling or a hunch or a conspiracy theory that this is right or this is wrong or whatever. I also want to be very cautious about making sure that we have choice when we make those decisions about businesses opening or not. The businesses did the job that was required by our Supreme Court when that decision was done, and then when that mandate was struck down, our Supreme Court said that there was not to be any mandates in Neenah, in the state of Wisconsin. I think there's a delicate balance, and I'll be honest with you, it is a political issue that probably shouldn't be political. That's part of the reason why I'm running for mayor, is that I understand that those issues can happen. My decisions will be informed. It will not be based on a feeling or something that I think that we should do, or because I believe that this happened this way. So to answer your question more directly, yes, we have to listen to CDC, the scientists, the people that are informed. I'm not a scientist. I don't know a lot of the details on how the things are happening, and so we take the advice based on some of the updates and things that are continually happening on a daily basis.
Thank you. Jane?
Thank you. I agree. It has been devastating for this community, for this state, for our country, for this world to be faced with the COVID pandemic. Personally impacted so many of us. Everybody knows someone who's been very sadly negatively impacted by this pandemic. The reality for us in the city of Neenah is we no longer have our own health department from which to draw information. We need to rely on the Winnebago County Health Department for guidance on this issue. We also need to rely on the CDC for input as well. One of the things that is also very important is that we rely on local medical leaders and experts in this field. One of the things that I think I have experience with is I've established relationships within the medical community in Neenah. I'm familiar with working with them, and I have a lot of experience and relationships with the medical community. I think one of the things that's important for us to realize is that it's a difficult and seemingly polarizing issue now, and we need to create some unity in regards to this issue. We need to be pragmatic and practical and come together on this issue, because it's not an issue that we truly should be divided on. We should be fighting this together as a community. On day one, though, I would be stepping in as your mayor with the ability to listen and understand and rely upon the advice of our local experts, because I already have those relationships established. That's where I think I would be set apart from the other candidates here. I have the experience, and hope that would really be an assistance for us.
Thank you, Jane. Kelly?
Earlier this week, the U.S. Occupational and Safety Administration announced the end to their COVID-19 vaccination testing rules that were struck down by the Supreme Court. I do not support any type of citywide mandate upon masks or vaccination. Businesses have been hurt, alcohol and drug addiction has risen, suicide rates are higher, and social skills are down. These are health decisions that should be made by individuals and local businesses, not a government entity. A short time ago, Mayor Dean did enact a short-term mask requirement within a city building outbreak. This short-term requirement was supported by me. I will work directly with the Winnebago County Health Department as well as other medical professionals to discover possible options in the case of an outbreak.
Thank you. Okay, let's see, who started that one? Okay, thank you. So this one will go to Jane first. If the Neenah School District were to offer the Shattuck School Complex to the city, what would your stance be? What would be a good use for that property?
Wow, that's an exciting question, and a question filled with opportunity. I think I would rely on our community development department to give us their best insight on what they think should be located in that particular spot in Neenah. Obviously, the building is old, it needs renovation. There are questions about whether it should be even kept at all. So I think we would need to come together with the school district. That's another area that I feel like I have a great amount of insight with dealing with the school district at all levels, and I feel like I'm well respected at the school district. Having an independent point of view and being not beholden to anybody at the district, but looking out for the best interests of the citizens of the city of Neenah would be my top priority in how we decide what to put at the Shattuck property, or if we didn't even keep that property as well. That's a very interesting question, and again, I think it's really filled with opportunity. There are certainly challenges with that property, but I think the opportunities are great as well.
Thank you. Kelly?
Question?
I would be happy to. If the Neenah School District were to offer the Shattuck School Complex to the city, what would be your stance on that? What would be a good use for that property?
To me, it's an historic building, so I think that we could turn it into a community center for elderly. Don't want to necessarily take apartments out of it. I've heard some people that live in the area that say they don't want that. But I think a community center, as long as it's feasible for the taxpayers. Otherwise, I'm all for an old building. I live in a 1957 mid-century home. Some of it was changed before we moved in, but have to keep our history.
Thank you. Brian?
Having taught in that building and seen things that are rather interesting, obviously economically, and we're hypothetically saying if it's given to us, we would have to obviously determine what that would be and the renovations cost of it. But to be honest with you, having the experience there, I would have a hard time believing there are some salvageable parts there, but I'm not a contractor. This is a huge issue for the people in the neighborhood. If you haven't been in that neighborhood around Shattuck, it's amazing. And the people there are concerned that there would be apartments, or there wasn't a lot of concern for the people that live in that community. There are people from all walks of life that live in that community. And I think at the first and foremost, if I'm mayor, that we would have like housing at least, the very least for there. But I think I would agree with Jane, the opportunity is amazing. That in the slab right in the middle of our city, it could be a business and it could be housing. It could be, a multifunctional park. It could be where we have an inside sports facility. I'm just saying that we can't limit ourselves and just say, we're just going to do it this way and the way we've always done it. We've got to find different ways and also take the opinions of those around. So if mayor, I would make sure if we had this property, at the very least, it would be like housing, condos perhaps. But I would also, again, talk to others that are probably looking at what does Neenah need? And we've heard a senior center, a community center. I know Brigade is looking for an opportunity for another building. These types of partnerships are what my strength is. My ability to work with the school district, obviously being there or having been there for as long as I have, I understand that those relationships are an opportunity for this community.
Thank you. Well, since you mentioned this, what is your position on creating a Neenah Senior Center? And we'll go to you first on this, Brian.
Certainly. Our surrounding communities do. And having, talked to a lot of people, there's a group that meets down at Brigade or has in the past. I know there's pockets of, I guess we talk seniors, that want to get together and find a place to create that sense of community. They're finding those places to do, but how great would it be for us to find funds to be able to partner with someone else or another business or another building in the community that we could provide that services for our mature population in Neenah. I think the sense of community is what makes Neenah amazing. And I think we have to make sure, again, we are focused on providing those services for all citizens of Neenah. And I think a senior center would be a fantastic way to continue to provide amenities for people that have provided a lot to this city.
Thank you. Kelly, you're next.
Neenah has set aside ARPA fund 5.55 with $4 million going to ongoing public costs. That leaves for a later. I feel we could look at utilizing some of the small projects throughout the forest in the senior center, maybe partnering with Highland. These funds could be used to assist in bringing health specialist, also, department. But regarding the seniors, I think it would be good to have asked about many times by something that would both sex work together with the other group and that's an option.
Okay, thank you. Jane?
Thanks. I have experience with having had my parents live here into their later years and working with the VNA, with Island Shores, with multiple groups in the community that focus on the elderly in this community. We also, at the Historical Society, have a lot of older citizens are connected and want to connect with our history. So I have a very good sense of what is needed and what people are looking for. And I think what they are looking for is the ability to connect with each other. Especially now, as we've been going through this COVID time, it's kept us very socially isolated from each other. A senior center would be a great thing for this community. However, I think we need to be very careful and cautious as we plan ahead for something like this. We need to form partnerships with organizations that are already providing some of that outreach to citizens, like the YMCA with their senior programs, again, the VNA, the Highlands, Island Shores, the other residential facilities in the community that are there for our older citizens. I support the establishment of a senior center with the cautious approach that we would need to be partnering with other organizations to make this happen. It would be a very positive thing for the community, but it would need to be appropriate from a taxpayer point of view as well.
Thank you. Okay, Kelly, this one goes to you first. What is the city's role in supporting and promoting public transportation, particularly for new developments meant for public access like businesses or housing development? Sure. What is the city's role in supporting and promoting public transportation, particularly for new developments meant for public access, like businesses or housing development?
That's a good question. There's been talk regarding parking for not only downtown, but also alternate sides parking. We could indeed study the options of adding meter parking for the transportation downtown. Don't know a whole lot about that part, but I'm going to look into it, so I'm sorry. I don't want to say something that I don't know a whole lot about and give wrong information.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Brian?
If we're going to create opportunities for people to utilize our amenities here, we owe it to be able to have transportation that allows others to have accessibility to these things. Fox Valley, our bus stops and our warming shelters, access all throughout the Fox Valley. My students such have taken buses and have had those opportunities to do so. We also have a dial-a-ride for those that, an economic way for people to, where we offset with our other surrounding communities to be able to allow people access to, whether it be shopping, or whether it be a downtown, or if we're going to create this amazing thing, we have to make sure it's accessible and equitable to all people. And whether it be offset some of the costs like we do right now, or it is the making sure the routes are where they need to be, and we're making sure that people have accessibility to get to the things that we provide for them.
Thank you.
Yes, I think that's it.
Okay. Jane?
Thank you. I'm the only candidate who served on the city's long-range comprehensive plan committee. And this is one of the issues that we've talked about a couple of years ago when we were looking through. what are our issues? What are our opportunities in this community? One of the greatest opportunities we have is to increase transportation routes for our citizens. Use of public transportation and encouraging public transportation is very important. We need to help educate the community on the benefits of using public transportation. Still, today, almost every citizen who is working downtown drives downtown by themselves. So that's not probably the best indicator of how we've done as far as educating the community about public transportation. I'll be working on a committee for the comp plan for the Fox Cities Convention and Visitors Bureau coming up. And that's one of the issues we'll be looking at as well, is transportation. How do we best approach that issue, improve transportation routes for our community and for our visitors coming in as well? How can we improve that, and how can we make this a better community? We've been working with Valley Transit over the years and had a very positive relationship with them. I think we can do better in promoting public transportation.
Thank you, Jane. Okay. I think we're going to start with Brian on this one. What experience do you have that qualifies you to run a city of 29,000 people with a total operating and capital budget of over $70 million?
That is a great question. And I think when you think about a government, you think about if I have spent this amount of time in these chambers. And I think that's an important part to it. But I also, is the broad experience that I would be bringing to this job, to this, I guess, the service of mayor. Having worked with budgets, for one, you brought up the $70 million. I have sat on a board where it's a $1.5 billion in assets. So I understand the budget, and I understand how we have to be very conservative. We have to be very conservative with people's money, so we're not just spending it. I think I have the ability when it comes to understanding people, and it's going to sound weird, but I don't ever expect, if I'm not going to be the smartest person in the room when it comes to our budget. It's not. If I am, then I'm probably in the wrong room. But what I have learned is that we have some amazing department heads that have specialties. My job as a mayor is not going to tell Mike Easker to move a decimal over to the right. What I am going to do is I'm going to invest in the people that are making some of those decisions. And I'm going to allow those people to be better and continue to work, find ways to save us money. So when we talk about a budget, I think that's part of it. The other part is leading. I want to be able to inspire those that I work with, as I have in the community that I have continued to work with and continue to work for, I should say. It is not an easy job, and you're going to be the one having to make tough decisions. But I do promise that my decisions, when I do have to make them, are going to be informed. They are going to be ones that are going to be seeking information from those that have the information that I'm looking for. My experience thus far in council has proven the fact that I understand how to be able to handle some of the situations that are going to be coming up as mayor.
Thank you. Kelly?
Thank you for the question. I have worked in sales my life upon many different levels, which has given me a skill with meeting with people from all walks of life. Well over half of my life has been spent within a supervisor role. A mayor is the face of the city, there to keep all in check, suggesting law creation, promoting the city, helping for the city. I bring a strong will, all of the skills required to be a mayor that will work with the city and the people, make Neenah the best that it can.
Thank you. Jane?
Thanks. I think my experience is what is setting me apart in the opportunity to serve as your mayor. I have demonstrated leadership in the community, serving 8 years on the city council, and I also have administrative skills that set me apart. I've been serving as the manager, overseeing all of the operations of a small nonprofit organization, and I'm very comfortable with doing that. It's also given me the opportunity to learn skills about being responsive to citizens in the community, listening and learning. That's something that I really enjoy. I love listening to our citizens and learning about what their stories are and what their concerns are. So both of my jobs have prepared me in that sense to become the mayor. The other thing that I think is very important to me is getting things done. Not just talking about what needs to be done, but actually digging in and getting the work done. I've established the necessary relationships within the city. I know how to get things done at City Hall. I know how to work with our city leaders and our staff at the city. I know how to work with the business community. I've established those relationships. I know how organizations within the community work, and I'm very proud of the relationships I've established with many organizations in helping Neenah to become a better place. On day one, I would be able to step into the role of mayor and be confident and secure and representing Neenah in a very positive way and bringing positive, good things to Neenah.
Thank you. I think this might be an appropriate time to give each of you 1 minute to share anything that we didn't ask a question about that you would like to have the public know about you. And for that, we will this time go alphabetically by last name. So let's start with you, Kelly.
Tonight, you have heard many key buzzwords. Do not get caught up in these alone. Look into the candidate and what they have done when it mattered. Do not get caught up in experience. We have learned that experience means nothing in political office. You need to actually ask yourself, who will actually put these into action? Answer to this question is me. Remember, an agenda I do not have. If I had an agenda, it would mean that I am doing what I want, not what the people of Neenah want. When people have an agenda to accomplish, they no longer represent what is good for Neenah, the people of Neenah, or the businesses of Neenah. Neenah needs a strong but understanding mayor that will keep all in check and focus on the people and not politics. My name is Kelly, and I want to be your next mayor. Don't ever forget, Neenah, I'm listening.
Thank you. Brian?
1 minute to tell you why I should be mayor or cover a lot of issues that I want to bring up. I think what it comes down to is that having been a part of this community and understanding that it's not the flashy buildings or maybe some of the really cool parks we have. It's not, a wonderful ice rink that we have. For me, it comes down to people. And since I can remember, I've always sought people's opinions. I've always cared for people, and I've always served people. This is an opportunity to help Neenah grow, have vision, be willing to take chances and risks. I'm prepared to be able to lead this community as I have for the last 26 years now living here. And I really do believe that the opportunity for us to be even better is out there. And I'm willing to take that opportunity. And I believe the team here at City Hall has that opportunity too. And I'm looking forward to being able to do that.
Thank you. Jane?
Thank you. This is my hometown, and I would love to serve you as its mayor. I have grown up here. I have grown to love this community. I have served this community for all of my life. It would be an amazing honor to serve as your mayor, and I know that the next mayor will face a lot of challenges. I think what I'm bringing in my candidacy as mayor is a lot of experience that will count and what will matter on day one. I want to work with you to make Neenah a better place. I'm always willing to listen. I have a lot of experience in listening, and I have a lot of experience in getting things done, getting good things done for this community. So I would be very honored if you would consider me as your next mayor.
Thank you. This concludes the Neenah Primary Candidates Forum. Remember, you can vote for one of these candidates on February 15th. The polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., and you may register when you go to vote on Election Day. Take a proof of residence with you. Everyone must show a voter ID, a photo voter ID. Go to myvote.wi.gov to find information on registration, ballots, acceptable photo IDs, and polling places. Visit vote411.org to learn more about the candidates on your ballot. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of Winnebago County, I want to thank the candidates for participating in this forum, and I thank all of you who are watching. Our democracy depends on citizen involvement. Please vote on February 15th.
Broadcasts of the City of Neenah Common Council meetings are produced by University Studios of the University of Wisconsin-Fox Valley. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents via the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues or about these broadcasts by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or by completing the electronic feedback form on the city website, www.neenahgov.org. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited for playback.